The war in Ukraine is back in focus. For months, the front lines were frozen, but this week, a fresh round of fighting has broken out with a twist. The war has shifted to Russia. Ukraine has breached Russian borders. Zelensky has taken the fight into Russian territory. He says the Russians should feel the war. His operation began 4 days ago, and now Kyiv says Russian troops are surrendering. This video is from the Kursk region. It's in western Russia. It shares a border with Ukraine. Earlier this week, Ukrainian forces crossed into this region. There were some 1,000 troops here. Reports say they were all well equipped. They had Western armored vehicles, artillery, tanks and drones, and they're said to be fighting in multiple Russian villages in this region now. These are Ukrainian troops on the offensive on Russian land. In fact, Kyiv has leaked some details about the operation, mostly to the Western press. Here is what they claim. Ukraine has seized about 100 square kilometers in Kursk. They've captured a gas metering station. This is used for Russia's energy supply to European countries like Hungary and Slovakia. And Ukraine is targeting this infrastructure. It also claims to have taken hundreds of prisoners. Remember, these are all Ukrainian claims. No one has been able to independently verify them. But some videos have emerged. They show a destroyed Russian military convoy. Russian authorities are trying to evacuate the locals, but it is proving to be a challenge. President Vladimir Putin has declared a state of emergency. He spoke to the governor of Kursk.
We started moving people out. It was quite difficult because these Ukrainian diversion groups are shelling the civilian population.
Please, together with your colleagues from various agencies, including the Ministry of Emergency Situations, this compensation work will have to be done. Meaning loss of property, loss of housing too, on a full scale. We will have to do it all.
Putin's troubles escalated today. Ukraine has broadened its campaign. Ukrainian drones struck the city of Lipetsk. Again, this is a Russian city in the west. It's about 400 kilometers from Kursk, and the fighting is on here. The Ukrainian drones targeted a Russian airfield. They bombed ammunition warehouses. So Ukraine is ramping up its attacks on Russia. Earlier, such operations used to be undercover. Ukraine never took responsibility or showed direct engagement. But that is not the case anymore.
Everyone can see that the Ukrainian army knows how to surprise and knows how to achieve results. This is demonstrated by the battlefield, where our soldiers not only withstood the overwhelming force of the occupiers, but also are destroying it in the way necessary to protect Ukraine, our state and independence.
Zelensky is not even pretending to keep this a secret now, which shows a clear shift in Ukraine's approach. Earlier, they followed the policy of plausible deniability. Their operations were tactical and discreet. Their teams were smaller, often made up of special forces or local sympathizers. Russia labeled such elements as saboteurs. They were the ones who carried out the attacks, mostly sporadic. What you have now is a sustained wave of strikes, with Kyiv not shying away from showing direct involvement. It's a bolder, even provocative approach. Ukraine has sent a large number of troops into Russia. They're heavily armed, and they're engaged in days-long battles against Russian forces. This is a high-risk mission. How does it help Kyiv, though? For starters, these attacks could distract the Russian military, force them to shift focus away from the fighting in Ukraine and towards defending Russian territory. That could be one objective that would help Kyiv, but perhaps they have a bigger prize in mind. If Ukraine manages to take control of some parts of Kursk, it will get some much-needed leverage over Moscow. In fact, one of Zelensky's advisors hinted at this. He suggested that this could be the only way to push Russia towards a negotiation.
Escalation is exclusively what the Russian Federation is doing. Everything that Ukraine does is an attempt to get to just peace. Russia will not react to any proposals before it receives appropriate, aggressive retaliatory strikes.
It's a risky gamble, one that will come with consequences, like a Russian reprisal. In fact, it's already begun. Russian forces are striking more targets in Ukraine. Today, they bombed a supermarket in eastern Ukraine. At least 10 people were killed. And if the Ukrainian operation continues in Kursk, these attacks from Russia will only increase. So the question here is, how long will Kyiv run this operation? And the numbers are not in their favor. Russia has more troops, it has more military equipment. Kyiv is completely dependent on Western partners, and it cannot take that support for granted. Germany, for one, plans to slash military aid. The US can go either way, depending on the election result. So success on the battlefield may help Zelensky's case. It may help him persuade the West to continue funding this war. But he needs to show results quickly, and time is not on his side. Also, the lives of his people hang in the balance.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies.